Chief Obinna Nwosu was a man whose name echoed across Nigeria. From real estate to oil and manufacturing, his company, Nwosu Group of Companies, stood tall as one of the biggest in West Africa. But more than wealth, what made people respect him was his wisdom. He believed in discipline, humility, and, above all, family. At 68, Chief Obinna had only one true treasure in life, his son, Dr. Chinedu Nwosu. For years, Chinedu had been away in the United Kingdom studying medicine. Now, at 28, he was finally graduating, and Chief Obinna could not wait to see him back home in Abuja. On a warm evening, Chief Obinna sat in his Asokoro mansion, holding his walking stick, when his phone buzzed. It was Chinedu. His deep baritone voice softened as he answered. "My son, you have made me proud. But remember your promise. You said once you finish your studies, you will marry." Chinedu chuckled on the other side of the line. "Papa, don't worry. When I return, I'll look for the right woman." But Chief Obinna wasn't laughing. He cleared his throat. "I have been watching, Chinedu. In this company, there are two young women, Amaka Okafor and Boma Peters. Both are hard-working, educated, and beautiful. I believe either could make you a good wife." Chinedu raised an eyebrow. "Papa, you want to choose a wife for me?" Chief Obinna smiled. "No, my son. The choice is still yours, but a wise father must guide his child. At least consider them." When the call ended, Chinedu sat silently for a while, staring out of his London apartment window. A daring idea crossed his mind, one that made him smile to himself. What if I returned to Nigeria not as the billionaire's son, but as an ordinary man? He thought about it deeply. Too many women only saw wealth and status. He wanted something real, something that would last even if money disappeared. "Yea," he whispered to himself, "I will go home and live like a poor man. Maybe as a security guard in Papa's company. Then I'll know who truly loves me." That night he dreamed of walking through the gates of Nwosu Group in a faded blue uniform, invisible to everyone except the one woman who could see his heart. A week later, inside the glittering glass tower of Nwosu Group headquarters in Woostecken, Chief Obinna sat in his executive office. The sun filtered through the tall windows, reflecting off polished marble floors. He leaned back in his leather chair, deep in thought. It was time to prepare the ground for his son's return. He pressed the intercom. "Tell Amaka to come in." Moments later, Amaka Okafor entered. She wore a simple Ankara dress, her hair neatly braided, her face fresh without heavy makeup. She greeted politely. "Good morning, sir." Chief Obinna studied her with fatherly eyes. For years he had admired Amaka's humility. Though she was only an administrative staff, she treated cleaners, security men, and even the janitors with kindness. He leaned forward. "Amaka, my son Chinedu, has completed his medical studies in the UK. He will return to Nigeria soon. I have watched you. You are respectful, diligent, and kind. I believe you could make a wonderful wife for him." Amaka's eyes widened. She lowered her gaze, her voice trembling. "Sir, I am honored by your words, but marriage is a matter of destiny. If it is God's will, let it be." Chief Obinna smiled softly. "That is all I ask. Just be yourself." Amaka left the office, her heart pounding. She never imagined such words would be spoken to her. Yet she remained calm, quietly whispering, "If love is meant for me, it will come without force." Not long after, the door opened again. Boma Peters stepped in. She wore a bright red gown, high heels clicking against the tiles, her perfume filling the air. She greeted with a practiced smile. "Good morning, Chief." Obinna nodded. "Sit down, Boma." He studied her carefully. Boma was ambitious, intelligent, and beautiful. But he had also noticed her pride. Still, he wanted to give her a chance. "My son Chinedu will soon return," he said. "I have seen your hard work and your confidence. I believe you could be a match for him. I only ask that you remain true to yourself." Boma's lips curved into a satisfied smile. Her mind raced with visions of designer cars, diamond jewelry, and life as Madame Nosu. She stood quickly, almost cutting him off. "Thank you, sir. I promise to make you proud." As she left the office, her heels clicking louder than ever, she whispered to herself, "So this is my moment. Soon I'll be a billionaire's wife. I must prepare for my crown." Meanwhile, down the hallway, Amaka sat quietly at her desk, typing her report with steady hands. Unlike Boma, she wasn't daydreaming about riches. She only prayed silently. "Lord, if love comes my way, let it be true, not built on wealth or vanity." And somewhere across the ocean, Chinedu was packing his bags, unaware that the stage was being set for a great test of hearts. The arrival hall at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. Abuja was alive with noise, luggage trolleys rattling, voices echoing, families reuniting. Among the crowd stood Chief Obina Nusu, clad in a white agbada and red cap, his walking stick polished and firm in hand. His eyes scanned the crowd until they fell on a tall young man, suitcase in hand, face glowing with joy. "Papa!" Chinedu called, rushing forward. "My son!" Chief Obina embraced him tightly. For a moment, all the wealth in the world meant nothing. This reunion was his greatest treasure. That evening, back at the mansion in Asokoro, a feast was laid. Bowls of steaming olive rice, fried plantain, pepper soup, and chilled drinks. Staff and family members celebrated the doctor's return. Yet as laughter filled the air, Chinedu leaned closer to his father. "Papa, I must keep to my plan. I don't want to be seen as your rich son. I want to know who truly loves me." Obina's eyes searched his son's face. "You are determined." "Yes," Chinedu replied firmly. "Give me a security uniform. Let me live in the boys' quarters. I want to work at the company gate. Only then will I see people's true hearts." A slow smile spread across Chief Obina's face. "You are wise, my son. But remember, do not reveal yourself until the right time. Even if it hurts, endure the test." The next morning, the transformation began. Chinedu stood before the mirror, no longer the polished doctor in suits, but a simple man in a faded blue security uniform, rubber sandals on his feet, and a cap pulled low over his eyes. With a broom in one hand and a small bottle of water in the other, he blended into the world of ordinary workers. At the Nwosu Group headquarters in Wusteku, staff streamed through the gates, barely glancing at the new security man. Most walked past as though he were invisible, but one voice pierced the silence. "Good morning, Oga Security," Amaka said gently, flashing her quiet smile as she walked in with her files. Chinedu's lips curved upward. "Good morning, madam," he replied, his heart lighter than it had been in years. Minutes later, Boma Peters strutted in. Her heels clicked against the pavement, handbag swinging, perfume strong enough to announce her presence. She passed the gate without a glance, her chin lifted high, as if the ground itself was beneath her. Chinedu chuckled under his breath. The drama has begun. For the first time, he understood why his father always said, "A man's true worth is revealed not in riches, but in how he treats those beneath him." And so the test of love and character began, one humble greeting at a time. Days turned into weeks at Nwosu Group headquarters, and the contrast between Amaka and Boma grew sharper with every passing moment. Amaka remained her usual self, arriving early, greeting everyone from the cleaners to the managers, working diligently without noise. She sometimes stopped by the gate to exchange a kind word with the new security guard, never knowing he was Chief Obina's son. Her warmth left a quiet impression on Chinedu's heart. But Boma? Her attitude was changing fast. Ever since Chief Obina's words echoed in her ears, "You could be a match for my son," she had crowned herself Madame Nwosu in her imagination. Her heels clicked louder, her laughter rang sharper, and her words cut deeper. One afternoon, the cafeteria was buzzing. Plates of jollof rice and moa moa were being served. Staff chatted over bottles of Fanta and malt, when Boma leaned back in her chair like a queen on a throne. "Some people in this company better learn how to talk to me with respect," she declared loudly. "Very soon, I will be Chief Obina's daughter-in-law, and when that happens, some gossipers here will lose their jobs." Her two friends gasped and clapped like she was delivering gospel truth. Amaka, sitting quietly at another table, pretended not to hear, but her calm silence seemed to annoy Boma even more. Later that week, Boma cornered Amaka near the reception. Folding her arms, she smirked. "Amaka, let's be honest. You and I both know Chief spoke to us. But you're not in my class. I'm more beautiful, more stylish, and I belong in that family. Stop embarrassing yourself by thinking you can compete with me." Amaka blinked, her calm eyes steady. "Boma, I am not in any competition with you. Why should I fight for a man who hasn't even arrived yet? If he chooses you, congratulations. If he chooses me, so be it. But destiny doesn't need fighting." Her voice was soft, yet her words cut deeper than Boma expected. Boma hissed, flipping her hair. "Keep deceiving yourself. You will see soon enough." From a distance, Chinedu watched the exchange, broom in hand, heart heavy with mixed feelings. He admired Amaka's patience and humility, but he shook his head at Boma's arrogance. Later that evening, as Amaka walked out, she spotted Chinedu at the gate and offered him a small bottle of cold water. "It's hot today. You need this." Chinedu's throat tightened. He smiled gently. "Thank you, madam." At that moment, he realized something. While one woman was fighting for a crown that did not exist, another was offering kindness to a man she believed had nothing to give. The sun was blazing over Abuja, casting sharp shadows across the gates of Nwosu Group headquarters. Chinedu stood at his post, uniform neat, cap pulled low, broom resting against the wall. For him, every day as a security guard was a lesson, watching, listening, learning the true colors of those around him. That morning, Amaka passed by as usual, greeting warmly. "Good morning, Oga Security," she said, offering a kind smile. "Good morning, madam," Chinedu replied softly, his heart swelling with quiet joy. Moments later, Boma Peters arrived in full display. Her gown shimmered, her heels clicked with authority, and her perfume preceded her entrance. She strutted toward the gate, chin high. Chinedu stepped forward politely and held the gate open. "Good morning, madam," he greeted. Boma stopped abruptly, glaring at him. "Are you mad?" she barked. "Who told you to talk to me? Keep that your smelling mouth to yourself." The other staff nearby froze. Chinedu's eyes flickered, but he remained calm. "I only greeted you." "Did I ask for your greeting?" Boma snapped, her voice rising. "You, a poor security boy, dare talk to me? From today, don't ever greet me again. I don't have time for useless people." A hush fell around the gate. Chinedu's chest tightened, but he took a deep breath. "You're too full of yourself," he said firmly, though his voice was steady. "Just because the chief mentioned you, you walk around like you already married his son. But tell me, do you even know him? Do you know his face, his voice? Or are you just chasing shadows?" The words struck Boma like thunder. Her eyes widened, then narrowed into fury. "How dare you? You poor excuse of a man. I will make sure you lose this job. When I become Madame Norsu, the first thing I'll do is sack you." Chinedu shook his head slowly. "That's if he chooses you." Those words sliced her pride like a blade. In blind rage, Boma screamed, "Useless thing! Just like your foolish father and your mother, who gave birth to a dog like you." The insult hit Chinedu deep, piercing through his disguise. His smile disappeared, his jaw tightened, but he refused to break character. He straightened, looked at her quietly, and said, "You've just shown your true self." Without another word, he walked away, leaving Boma fuming and humiliated before the shocked staff. Moments later, she stormed into Chief Obina's office, her heels stomping like thunder. "Chief, you must sack that arrogant security man today," she shouted. Chief Obina looked up slowly, his wise eyes narrowing. "Calm down, Boma. What is the matter?" "He insulted me, Chief. He disrespected me, and even laughed at me. Such a poor, mannerless boy should not work in your company." Chief Obina leaned back, his face unreadable. "No, Boma, I will not sack him. He is a good and respectful young man. If he spoke to you, there must be a reason." Boma froze. "Chief, why are you defending a poor security guard?" Obina's voice was calm but heavy. "Because sometimes the one you call poor may be richer in character than those who wear pride like a crown." Boma's lips trembled, but no words came out. She turned and stormed out, her heels echoing through the hallway. Back at the gate, Chinedu stood silently, eyes lifted to the sky. He wasn't hurt by being called poor. What pained him was the cruelty that poured so easily from Boma's lips. "Now I know," he thought. "Pride is louder than love." That evening, the golden sun dipped low over Asakoro, painting the sky with orange and purple strokes. Inside the grand Wosu mansion, Chief Obina sat in his favorite armchair, reading the day's newspaper. The living room smelled faintly of roasted groundnuts and polish from the mahogany furniture. The front door creaked open, and Chinedu walked in, still in his faded blue uniform, cap in hand. His shoulders sagged from the day, but there was a small smile tugging at his lips. "Welcome, my son," Chief Obina said, lowering the paper. "How was work today?" Chinedu sank into the sofa and chuckled. Papa, today was pure drama. That Boma girl, something else." Obina raised an eyebrow. "Tell me." "She insulted me at the gate in front of staff," Chinedu said, his voice calm but laced with disappointment. "She called me poor, useless, even cursed my parents. She walks around like she owns the world because you once spoke kindly to her." Chief Obina's smile disappeared. "She insulted your parents?" "Yes. She even said my mother was a fool for giving birth to me." Chinedu shook his head. "But I held myself. I didn't reveal who I am, I just walked away." For a moment, silence hung heavy in the room. Then Obina sighed deeply, rubbing his forehead. "I am disappointed. When I first spoke to that girl, she appeared humble, respectful. But now I see pride hiding in her heart. That is not the kind of woman who builds a peaceful home." Chinedu leaned forward, his voice firmer now. "Papa, I thank you for letting me carry out this disguise. If I had walked into that office in a designer suit, she would have worshipped me. But as a security guard, she showed me her true self. This disguise is teaching me more than medical school ever did." Obina's eyes softened, pride shining through them. "You are your father's son. I once did the same when I was young, and I learned the same truth. You can never buy character. Money may dress a person, but humility undresses the heart." Both men laughed lightly, the tension easing. Chinedu then smiled thoughtfully. "But Papa, not all hope is lost. I have also been watching Amaka. She is different. She greets me every morning. She once gave me water when the sun was hot. She treats me like a human being even though she thinks I have nothing to offer." Obinna nodded knowingly. "That girl has a good spirit. A woman like that brings peace into a man's life. But be patient, my son. Do not rush. Watch and test both hearts until the truth is clear." Chinedu leaned back, eyes glistening with gratitude. "I will, Papa. But I can already feel it. Amaka is the one." Obinna smiled, lifting his walking stick slightly as though blessing his son. "Then let destiny finish its work. At the right time, the truth will shine brighter than gold." Outside, the cicadas sang in the Abuja night. Inside, father and son shared a quiet understanding. The real test of love had only just begun. The following week, a message went out from HR at Nosu Group. All staff should gather in the conference hall by 9 a.m. sharp. Chief Obinna has an important announcement to make. Whispers flew through the building like Harmattan wind. Is someone getting promoted? Maybe Chief is bringing his son today. Or maybe a big contract has landed. By 9 o'clock, the glass-walled conference hall in Wu's 2 headquarters was packed. Staff sat on edge, their eyes fixed on the empty stage. Some sipped nervously at bottles of water, others clutched their notepads. The double doors opened. Chief Obinna Nosu walked in, dressed in a spotless white agbada, his signature red cap on his head, and his walking stick tapping gently against the tile floor. The entire hall rose in respect. "Good morning, my children," he greeted warmly. "Good morning, sir," they chorused. He gestured for them to sit. Then his deep voice filled the hall. "For over 30 years, I have built this company with sweat, sleepless nights, and prayer. Together we turned Nosu Group into one of the leading companies in Africa, but," he paused, his eyes sweeping across the room, "the time has come for me to step aside." Gasps rippled through the hall. Murmurs erupted. "Yes," Chief Obinna continued calmly, "I am officially retiring. From today I will no longer sit in this office daily. Instead I will rest and enjoy the life I worked for. But do not be afraid. The company will continue to stand strong." He leaned slightly on his stick, his tone deliberate. "Very soon my son, who has been studying abroad, will return home. Until then, someone else will represent me. But mark this, success does not rest on pride or beauty. It rests on discipline, respect, and humility." The room fell into a thoughtful silence. At the back, Amaka listened quietly, her pen resting on her notebook. She nodded gently at the words, reminded once again that humility was strength, not weakness. But a few seats away, Boma Peters was glowing. She leaned toward her friend, whispering, "Did you hear that? He's talking about me. Very soon I'll be Madame Nosu. These people will bow to me." Her friend giggled while others cast side glances, some rolling their eyes. By the door, broom in hand, Chinedu stood in his security uniform, watching everything. He kept his face expressionless, but inside he smiled. So she already sees herself as Madam. Yet she doesn't even know the man she claims to marry is standing right here holding the door for her. Chief Obinna raised his hand. "My advice to all of you is this. Continue to work with respect for one another. Titles mean nothing without humility. Remember, pride comes before downfall." As the staff filed out, Amaka gave Chinedu her usual kind smile. "Thank you," she said softly as he held the door. "You're welcome, madam," he replied. Then Boma swept past, flipping her hair, refusing to even glance his way. Chinedu's lips curved in a quiet smile. The test is working, and soon truth will expose itself. 2 days after Chief Obina's retirement announcement, a sleek black SUV rolled into the compound of Nwosu Group headquarters. Its tinted windows reflected the morning sun, drawing curious stares from staff hurrying into the building. 2 security men rushed to open the door. Out stepped a tall, handsome man in his mid-30s. He wore a crisp white shirt, neatly tucked into dark tailored trousers, and his polished shoes gleamed as though they'd never touched dust. His wristwatch caught the sunlight, and his confident stride turned heads immediately. The receptionist blinked in surprise. "Good morning, sir." He smiled warmly. "Good morning. I'm Mr. Raymond Adeni. I was asked to report here for an introduction." Minutes later, a message echoed through the intercom. "All staff, please proceed to the conference hall immediately. The new representative has arrived." Excitement buzzed through the building. Staff hurried into the hall, whispering questions. Is this the chief's son?" "He looks rich enough to be. Handsome, too. See his skin shining?" At the front, Mr. Raymond stood confidently. He cleared his throat, his voice calm and measured. "Good morning, everyone. My name is Raymond Adeni. Chief Obina has entrusted me to represent him during his retirement until his son arrives. I look forward to working with each of you. My goal is simple: teamwork, respect, and growth." A round of polite applause filled the hall. Raymond smiled, then bowed slightly before leaving. The moment the doors closed behind him, Boma Peter's eyes were already glowing like torchlight. She leaned toward her best friend, whispering excitedly, "Did you see that man? So fresh, so fine, like morning bread hot from the oven." Her friend giggled. "Boma, I thought you were waiting for Chief's son." Boma flipped her braided hair with a scoff. "Who says I can't have 2 options? If the son delays, I'll manage this Raymond first." She laughed smugly, her mind already plotting. Nearby, Amaka overheard the conversation. She shook her head quietly, whispering under her breath, "Some people will chase anything that glitters, but not everything shiny is gold." At the back of the room, leaning against the wall with his broom, Chinadu had heard it all, his lips pressed into a thin smile. So now she wants Raymond too? Truly, her heart follows money and appearance, not love. Later that evening, as the compound emptied, Chinadu stood at the gate, watching staff leave. His thoughts, however, were on Amaka. The way her calmness stood out like a candle in a storm. In a world chasing riches and status, she was a rare soul who carried quiet dignity. And in that moment, he realized more than ever, the difference between pride and humility is clearer than the sun at noon. The office compound was quiet that evening. The last rays of the Abuja sun stretched across the glass walls of Nosu Group headquarters, painting everything in gold. Most staff had gone home, leaving only a few cleaners and the security team at their posts. By the gate, Chinedu leaned against the register desk, pretending to check the logbook, but his heart was restless. For days he had been carrying a weight in his chest. Every time Amaka greeted him kindly, every time she smiled at him without contempt, his respect and admiration for her grew. "I can't keep this inside any longer," he thought. "She deserves to know how I feel, even if she believes I'm just a poor security guard." Just then, Amaka appeared, walking gracefully toward the exit with her handbag. Her steps were light, her face calm after a long day. Chinedu's pulse quickened. "Amaka?" His voice was low but steady. She turned, surprise flickering in her eyes. "Yes. Oga Security?" she teased softly, her lips curving into a smile. Chinedu swallowed hard, stepping closer. "Please, can I talk to you? Just for a few minutes." She hesitated and then nodded. "All right." They walked to a quiet corner near the gate. The compound was still, only the hum of distant traffic filling the silence. Chinedu took a deep breath, his palms slightly sweaty. "Amaka," he began, his voice almost trembling. "I don't know how to say this, but I must. From the first day I saw you, I noticed something different about you. You're kind. You respect people no matter who they are. You even brought me water one afternoon when the sun was too hot." Amaka's eyes softened. Chinedu pressed on. "I may not have much. In fact, I'm just a security man in this company. But my heart is real. I love you, Amaka. Will you be my girlfriend?" For a moment, silence hung heavy in the air. Chinedu's heart pounded like a drum. He braced himself for rejection. Then slowly, Amaka smiled. "You know what's funny?" she said gently. "I liked you too, from the very beginning. I was only waiting for you to speak first." Chinedu's eyes widened. You mean it?" She nodded shyly. "Yes. I even used to watch you from my office window sometimes. You were always so serious, so respectful. I thought to myself, this is a man with dignity." Chinedu almost laughed out loud with relief, joy rushing through him. "So, you're saying yes?" Amaka chuckled softly. "Yes, I'm saying yes." Then her tone grew firm. "But promise me one thing. Let's keep this private, at least for now. The office is full of gossipers, especially that Boma girl. If she finds out, she'll scatter everything." Chinedu raised his hand like a scout. "I promise. Just you and me." They both laughed lightly. Then Amaka leaned closer, her eyes twinkling. "So, we're officially boyfriend and girlfriend now." Chinedu grinned, his heart soaring. "Yes, Amaka. And this is just the beginning." As she walked away into the night, Chinedu stood rooted, smiling like a man who had just won a treasure more precious than gold. 2 weeks passed at Nosu Group headquarters, and though the office buzzed with normal activity, something new bloomed quietly in the shadows, a secret love between the security guard and the young administrator. Every morning when Amaka arrived, her smile lingered a little longer at the gate. Chinedu's heart would lift, though he hid his joy behind a professional nod. "Good morning, Oga Security," she would say softly. "Good morning, Amaka," he would reply, his eyes sparkling with meaning only she understood. They became masters of subtle gestures. When she walked past his post, she would drop a folded note into the security register, short messages scribbled in neat handwriting. "Hope you've eaten," or "Stay strong, you're doing well." During lunch breaks, he would slip small, handwritten replies into her file folders. "Your kindness gives me strength," or "Seeing your smile is the best part of my day." To the outside world, nothing looked unusual, but for them those tiny acts were like sparks lighting a secret fire. Meanwhile, Boma Peters only grew louder in her pride. She strutted through the halls in flashy gowns, dropping hints that she was very close to the Norsu family. Some staff began to whisper behind her back. Why does she act like the chief's son already proposed? She's behaving like a queen without a crown. But Boma's ears were deaf to reason. She believed the throne was hers, and every glance in the mirror reminded her how deserving she was. One evening, as Amaka walked out of the office, she paused briefly at the gate. She looked at Chinedu with gentle boldness and whispered, "Sometimes I forget you're just a security guard. You carry yourself differently." Chinedu chuckled lightly, his voice low. "And sometimes I forget you see me at all. You treat me like a person, Amaka. That means more than you'll ever know." Her eyes softened. "That's because you are a person, not a uniform. Don't ever forget that." Her words sank deep into his heart, and he knew then that this was more than infatuation. This was the kind of love money couldn't buy, love rooted in dignity, kindness, and truth. But as their secret flourished in whispers and glances, danger brewed quietly. For while Amaka valued humility, Boma's eyes were still fixed on wealth, status, and power, and in her restless ambition, she was willing to step on anyone, even Amaka, to reach the crown she thought was hers. The weeks after Chief Obina's retirement were filled with speculation. Every corridor of Nwosu Group headquarters buzzed with rumors about the chief's son. I hear he's already in Abuja. Someone said he's very handsome, a doctor from abroad. They say he will soon take over the company. These whispers only fed Boma Peter's ambition. She spent extra hours at the salon, her nails sharp, her wigs imported, her gowns glittering like diamonds. In her mind, she was already Madame Nwosu. One afternoon in the cafeteria, she leaned across the table toward her two closest friends. Listen, very soon, I'll be officially announced. And when that happens, those gossipers in this company will regret the nonsense they've been saying behind me. Her friends giggled, but some staff shook their heads silently. Meanwhile, Amaka remained her calm, diligent self. She arrived early, finished her work without drama, and left quietly. Yet despite her silence, whispers also followed her. Some colleagues had noticed the way she exchanged subtle glances with the new security guard. Is it just me, or does Amaka smile too much at that gate man? Impossible. A girl like her with a common security boy? The rumors trickled toward Boma's ears, and her fury boiled. How dare Amaka, that Enugu girl, think she can stand in my way, she thought. First, she pretends to be humble. Now she's chasing even security men? Shameless. That evening, as she walked out of the office, she deliberately stopped at the gate. Her eyes scanned Chinedu in his faded uniform. She sneered. So this is what Amaka is wasting her time on? A dirty, poor gate man? Chinedu met her eyes calmly. He didn't respond, but inside he felt the sting of her contempt. Still, he reminded himself, patience. The truth will soon come out. Later that night, at the Nwosu mansion in Asokoro, Chinedu sat with his father in the living room. Papa, he said quietly, Boma is blinded by pride. She doesn't just ignore me, she insults me openly. But Amaka, she sees me for who I am. She accepted me, even when she believed I had nothing. Chief Obina smiled knowingly. The difference is clear, my son. Gold and brass may both shine in the sun, but only time reveals which is true. Chinedu nodded, determination burning in his chest. Then the time has come. Soon, Papa, I must reveal who I really am. Amaka deserves the truth. And Boma, she deserves the shock of her life. Obina chuckled deeply, tapping his walking stick against the floor. Then let destiny play its final card. And the Abuja night wrapped the mansion in silence. One truth stood tall. Pride was digging its own grave, while humility was about to be crowned in glory. The atmosphere inside the Nwosu Group conference hall was charged with excitement. An urgent message had gone out that morning. All staff must report to the conference hall by 10 a.m. sharp. Chief Obina and his son have an important announcement. By the time the clock struck 10, the hall was filled. Whispers fluttered like restless birds. Finally, we'll meet the son. They say he's a doctor. I heard he's very wealthy. Maybe today is the day he chooses his bride. At the front, Chief Obina Nwosu entered, regal in his flowing agbada and red cap. He tapped his walking stick twice, commanding silence. My children, he began, his deep voice steady. I called you here today because the time has come. You have heard much about my son. Some of you have imagined him. Some of you have even claimed him already. His eyes swept the room briefly, pausing on Boma, who sat straight-backed, a triumphant smile plastered on her face. Obina continued, "But today, you will meet him for yourselves. He has been here among you, working quietly, watching, listening. Not as the son of a billionaire, but as an ordinary man." Confused murmurs erupted. Boma frowned, whispering, "What does he mean?" Obina lifted his hand. "Allow me to present to you my son, Dr. Chinedu Nwosu." Gasps filled the hall as the side doors opened. In walked the young man everyone thought was just a gate man, the security guard in faded uniform, broom often in hand. But today he wore a tailored navy blue suit, polished shoes, and his head was held high. His smile carried both confidence and humility. The room froze. Shock painted every face. "It's the security man?" someone whispered. "Impossible," another gasped. Boma Peters leapt to her feet, her eyes wide in horror. No, this can't be true." Chinedu's eyes found hers, calm but firm. "Yes, Boma. The same man you mocked, insulted, and called useless. That was me. And in your pride, you revealed your true heart." Gasps turned into whispers, whispers into silence. Then Chinedu turned, his gaze softening, as it landed on Amaka Okafor, who sat quietly in the middle row, her hands clasped nervously. "But there was another," he said, his voice warm. "A woman who greeted me every morning with kindness, who offered me water on a hot afternoon, who saw a man, not a uniform. That woman is Amaka." Amaka's eyes brimmed with tears as the entire hall turned to look at her. She stood slowly, trembling, unable to believe what was happening. Chinedu stepped closer, his voice steady and sincere. "Amaka, when I confessed my feelings to you, you accepted me, believing I was nothing but a poor guard. Today I stand here, not just as a man in disguise, but as Dr. Chinedu Nwosu, son of Chief Obina. And before all here, I say it again, I love you. Will you walk this journey with me, not for my name, not for my wealth, but for the man you first said yes to?" The hall erupted in gasps and soft applause. Tears slipped down Amaka's cheeks, but her smile was radiant. "Yes, Chinedu, 1,000 times yes." Chief Obina struck his walking stick on the floor, beaming with pride. "This is the lesson for all of us. Pride brings shame, but humility brings honor. Character is greater than beauty, and sincerity is wealth that never fades." The staff clapped loudly now, some wiping their eyes. Boma sank back into her chair, her face pale, her dreams shattered in front of everyone. The crown she imagined had vanished like smoke. But at the center of the hall, Chinedu and Amaka stood hand in hand. Their love no longer a secret, but a living testimony. True love is not built on gold, but on the unshakable foundation of character.